It's time for the MMA Insiders with your host, Steve Cofield, and experts Frank Trigg and Kevin Ioli.
Gentlemen, welcome.
On ESPN Radio 1100 and 98.9 FM.
All right, here we go. A little after 6. Brand new show here on ESPN Radio 1100, 98.9 FM. The MMA Insiders. Sure. Yeah. We've needed the show for a while, right? I think. In Vegas. So now we have it. Brought to you by the Las Vegas Fight Shop. You got 2 locations around town. Fashion Show and also Miracle Mile. A lot to get into. Adam Hill is here with us. Our buddies Trigg and Ioli are on the road. We will talk to Kevin Ioli a little later. He's in Montreal. Frank Trigg's fighting. That's what happens when you have fighters as co-hosts. They fight sometimes. So he's fighting. He's in the UK, right, Adam? Adam Hill is here with us. He's playing the role of the mute today. He's got the, what are you wearing there? Saber? What is that? Is that an old Bills or a Sabres hat?
It's a throwback Bills, but I got the bad sunburn on the forehead, so I'm trying to cover it up.
Really?
It's pretty ugly.
Let me see it. Wow.
Yeah.
Why don't you use sunscreen? I don't get it.
It was cold on Sunday.
I know, but there's still the wind.
Yeah, it was sunny, but it was cold. How are you going to get sunburned?
Don't get all fresh. All right, let's get off to a decent start. We don't have to start fighting.
All right, try to cover it up, and then you're calling me out right away. I don't know what to do.
I don't understand why you're wearing a hat when it's 65 degrees out. That's all.
Represent the Bills. Why not?
All right. Reynolds is here with us. That's what he likes to be called. I don't know. If you call him by his first name, he gets all emotional and fired up. So, Roy Nelson is in studio. Later, John Jones, we've got him on the phone, the UFC light heavyweight champ. Roy, of course, one of the elite heavyweights. All right, we're going to throw you right into the fire right off the bat. We're going to do something we call the opening round, but we're going to do it by pride rules because we want to make it 10 minutes long, right? So we're going to do 2 minutes each on the 5 topics that we wanted to get to right off the bat, and you and Adam can go back and forth. We'll have a buzzer after 2 minutes. If you haven't said what you wanted to say, then, I don't know, you lose. You're going to walk out of here feeling very down on yourself. So do it quickly. Really, I don't want to have you feeling, like a loser because we want you to win this fight. Hey, although when Frank comes on, I'll tell him the same thing.
I'll just have one-liners, so I'll need about 15 seconds.
No, you. I've never heard you with a one-liner. You have a lot to say. All right, well, let's start the clock. First topic right off the bat, and the 2 minutes will roll down quickly. You'll be shocked by it.
We get like a ticker, like the tick 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 or something.
Well, we'll have to get it. We're working on it. This is not a high tech show.
What do you
yet.
do around here, Reynolds?
Not a high tech show yet. All right, today
an egg timer.
That's what we need. Today, the commission here in Nevada met on the issue of monitors. Before we get into the issue, Adam, you were there. Tell us what happened.
First of all, commission meetings, very exciting. Lots of fast-paced energy and comedy going on over there.
It's the worst.
They decided unanimously, pretty easy decision. Judges will now have access to monitors right in front of them so that they don't have to turn and look at the big screen when fights go to the ground. They can actually have a monitor right there with the in-studio feed or in-arena feed. I think it's good for them. Anything that helps judges at all, especially with some of the crazy decisions recently, I think it's a good step.
I would have to agree to a certain degree, but it's you can also get like movie angles. So like there's sometimes people won't even be hitting, but as long as their head's just moving, it just looks like they're hitting it. So it's all about movie magic. So I don't really think that's really going to help them.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, and that's something I brought up to them, and they said, well, it's better than having an angle where there's a ref or a post blocking a judge and they can't see anything at all. At least they can have some angle. And before they had the monitors, that was one of the reasons people think it's for the fans. It's also for the judges so they can see some of that action. But now, it'll be more in their line of sight. They don't have to look up and then look back to the cage. They can actually have that monitor right in front. And if the judges don't like it, it's easy to just move out of the way. They don't have to use it at all. So any tool is good, I would think, at this point.
So the monitor is going to help them understand what jiu-jitsu is.
Exactly. That's the issue. And that was actually the next thing I was going to say. It's not going to help their training, but it is at least another angle that they can look at.
That would be interesting.
Do you think? I mean, it's a different thing. Do you think former fighters need to be refs?
I think there should be like an ABC, like a multiple choice, like a jiu-jitsu film or something like that. Like, is that a Kimura? Like, is that a triangle? Like what
Idiot's Guide to Jiu-Jitsu.
What's a rear naked choke? If you can't even if you don't know what that is, then you shouldn't even be a ref, judge, or anything like that.
All right, real quick, I'm thinking right now that it's already 2 minutes and 14 seconds, so either you're going to hit the buzzer and do this the right way, or you're getting fired right now.
What is going on?
All right, it's over. I mean, how come I can keep tracking and you can't?
I didn't know it was the start.
Yeah, what do you mean it wasn't the start? Roy, did you know we were doing 2 minutes?
Yeah, I already was looking. I was like, we're over.
I mean, he knows. Please, you got to be more focused.
The worst part is we had high-level meetings on this. Like, way before the show today.
We exchanged like 3 emails the last couple of weeks. All right, next issue, John Jones, his injury is his hand injury. He was going to get surgery, then he's not getting surgery. Now he misses the Evans fight, and he tells Rashad, his management says publicly that, we'll fight Rashad in October. Your opinion of what went down?
I think it could be like a shakedown, or it could be just mind games. Me personally, if you're already going to be out for 5-6 months, even if you had surgery, I got a phone call right after I had knee surgery to fight Carwin, so that was 3 months after. So I was going down to fight. So I think if you're the champ, I guess you can take that longer hiatus than needed.
All right.
Clearly, there's something going on because Rashad Evans said before the announcement was made that Jones wasn't getting surgery, he's not getting surgery. It's a fake injury. I know it. He knew something, clearly, because that's what came out. And there was something going on in the camp. I think Jones is hurt, but I think that they knew he didn't need surgery. There was, some negotiating going on of something. I don't know what behind the scenes, but Evans knew it, and then we all found out what Evans knew afterwards.
I would have to agree.
Clarify the word shakedown.
It's just something weird, just not the normal. Because if you're a fighter, you just fight. That's just what it is. But if you want something else besides just the glory of getting your hand raised, then I call it the shakedown.
We got a few seconds left. What'd you hear about the exchange at Surrender? Was that real or not? Supposedly, according to Norm and the RJ, John Jones and Evans got into it, and then Evans told the story about talking trash, and then they had to be separated.
All I know is GSP was the ref.
Who wins a real fight between them versus, say, a street fight between them?
I'm going to have to say Rashad is, just because Rashad never goes in a fight so confident. If he doesn't think he can, if he knows he can win, he'll say, I want that fight. If he doesn't, he'll be the first one to back away.
Oh, okay. I'm questioning Rashad a little bit, too.
No, but he'll call a fight because, he's also, he has his brand to worry about.
Right? More inflammatory statements. Wow, on both sides. All right, that's it. Okay, done. All right. Next one. Brock Lesnar's illness and his impact on the division. What happens to the division now while he's in limbo? Does this turn out to be a benefit so other guys can develop?
Well, I called this back in January because a couple of days ago I was Notre Dame of MMA. So, our prayers have to go out for Brock, because he's sick. But when he comes back, I'll be the first one to fight him. I'm game. If I'm champion or not champion, I'll take that first fight. But it opens up the division a little bit more because now it just leaves pretty much Dos Santos, Carwin, myself, and Frank at the top of the heap. And then
what about all the Strikeforce guys?
They're over in Strikeforce. Business as usual.
Which means what?
You got the Grand Prix over there.
Okay. All right. I like the business as usual. You're right. By the way, little breaking news today, Strikeforce Challengers is coming to Vegas, so that is part of the business as usual. ESPN.com is reporting that they'll be here at the Palms, it looks like, in July. And also rumors now that GSP and Nick Diaz could be right around the corner. Potentially a candidate to be tough.
I heard, that's in December, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still like 8 months away.
Okay.
So business as usual for 8 months.
Okay, all right.
I think it'll be interesting to see when Lesnar comes back, if he does. We talked last time, if he had the surgery that would have corrected this for good, he wouldn't have been able to fight anymore. Obviously, whatever treatment he was on didn't work. Will he have to have surgery now, and will it be a lasting thing that he can't come back from it? Is this the end of Lesnar? It's possible.
It all depends on how well his book does.
That's Adam Hill. That was Roy Nelson just speaking. I do want you to go back, though, to the Nostradamus thing that you said he'd be out of the fight. Did you think he was going to wimp out of the fight? Because you don't believe that. Like, this is a legit, serious ailment he's had to back out of the fight for.
Well, if we're going to go off of what Adam says, if he's never going to come back,
I
said personally,
yes.
I said he would never come back. I think he was pretty much done after the Kane fight.
You think he's mentally shot?
I think he was, in it for the money versus fighting. There's different breed of fighter.
I think in this case, Reynolds, for future reference, just keep hitting the buzzer, especially if I go over the 2 minutes. Since I got on you, just torture me, okay?
First he can't hit it. Now you want him to hit it multiple times. You're asking a lot.
Now we're
look at him.
It's trial by fire. All right, next story. In our 5 top stories here, our opening round, we give 2 minutes on each one. Roy Nelson's here with us, fighting at UFC 130 against the great Frank Mir. great in every element. So we're gonna find out how great he is, and we'll touch on that fight in about 15 minutes. Adam Hill is here from the RJ. Fourth topic, the 155 class. Finally, there's some trash talk. I think it needs it. I don't think it needs to be phony, but it does need it. Gray Maynard and Anthony Pettis are kind of going back and forth. Maynard called Pettis' competition scrubs, and then Pettis fired back saying, you know what, Gray is kind of boring and he needs the spotlight on him.
With that fight, I think Pettis first needs to get past Guida first. If he gets past Guida, then he can talk. But until that, I'm going to have to agree with Gray.
Why? You think WEC competition is a lot less? Or was?
WEC was owned by Zuffa, and they had the 155. They had two sets of 155ers. If you were the good 155er, you were already in the UFC. So,
all right.
They got rid of all the 170, the 185ers, the 205ers. They started breaking them off in the WC, and they just moved them over to the UFC. But if they got to put you in the 155 in the WC, there was a reason.
Okay. So it was the minors.
I wouldn't say minors, just a different league.
Okay.
We've seen some of the guys come over from the WC fight in the UFC. I think 3-0 are the guys that were at the top of the WC in the UFC. They're not fighting the top UFC guys, though, so it's really not a fair comparison. I think this is huge for the division. We needed some excitement. Edgar Maynard was an awesome fight, but if you remember, it was very sluggish as far as sales go, as far as the hype leading up to it. This division needed this influx of excitement. I think they've got it with these guys talking trash. And as much as I like Gray Maynard, I think Pettis is right in this case. Pettis was fighting good guys. He was putting on great shows. There's no need for Maynard to rip on his competition. He said it was one kick that he landed that made him famous. He had a lot of good track record behind him before that one kick. So I think he was fighting good guys. Maynard might be a little wrong here.
All right, that's it. Damn, I had something else to say, too. All right, well, I made the rules.
Your rules work against
I know,
you.
damn it. All right, last one. This is, I think, the most important issue of the week, aside from the fights coming up. Chael Sonnen. So he goes and speaks he testifies in front of the California State Athletic Commission. They say, no, 4-1, you're not getting your license back. Now we're looking ahead. He's officially banned until the middle of 2011. Then he can't reapply for a license in California until 2012, which effectively says, I guess you can go somewhere else and fight and get a license in another state, but is the UFC going to go against the California Commission and allow Chael Sonnen to fight? Is 2 years too severe for what he did?
The way I look at it is, first they gave him 6. It's like if you go to like a court case and if you get a sentence for 6 months, you can't go back and go, well, you know what? Now we're going to do a year, 2 years. I mean, they already gave him a sentence of 6 months. They reduced it to 6 months. So stick with it. And then now they're just mad because they either look stupid or they got a little pet
It's like double jeopardy. They found out afterwards that he may have, he's playing his character, so we're going to get you.
So they want to penalize him. But, I mean, there's blatantly guys where they're like, yeah, I cheated. I did this. I did that. I mean, he told them before the test even came out. So it really is on them. So, but I mean, I've seen guys go, yeah, I cheated, and then they go, okay, don't do it again. Okay, and then they give him a year. Now they're just doing 2 years just because. I mean, I don't think Chael should be penalized that way. I think he should just go ahead and fight outside California.
It was extremely harsh what they did, and I think some of the reasons that they did it are completely unfair. First of all, they brought up his money laundering case, which I don't know what's going on. Boxers all the time, we talked off the air about it, there's boxers coming out of jail and going out to fight. How is that not harming the sport? Yet Chael Sonnen's money laundering charge is. That's crazy. And they also use statements he made in the media to disprove things he said on the record to the commission. That's insane. He can say whatever he wants to the media. I want guys to be honest with me, but they don't have to be. They're not under oath when they're talking to the media. You can't use what he says in interviews to discredit what he says in the commission hearing. That's insane. But one thing I'll say, I talked to Keith Kaiser today. He said is his understanding that Sonnen can apply in Nevada as soon as his California suspension is up. He doesn't have to wait the year. He can apply next month, which is in June, for a license here in Nevada if he wants to fight.
Yeah, I think you should.
Why'd you pause? I threw you off. I just stared at you.
did.
Well, you look good today.